I love Bootstrap, and some people don't. And I think one of the main concerns people have with Bootstrap is that every Bootstrap site you seem to go to or app they use that uses Bootstrap looks pretty much the same. This is a sample website. This is something I actually had published and had done very quickly with a few modifications for demonstration. But you'll see here, if you looked at this, if you went to this website, I think if you have decent amount of front end experience, you'd be like, oh, this was this is a Bootstrap website. So what could I do to make this look less generic? And I've got about 7 things that you can do that are very, very quick to do that can make this look less bootstrappy. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so I've got the site on the right and my VS Code on the left. This is just built in Astro, which if you're not using Astro to build your static websites, what are you doing? Because it's so easy and convenient. The first thing we're going to do is font. Probably one of the most dead giveaways is that the Bootstrap font looks very bootstrappy. And we're going to do that using Google Fonts. So yeah, just put in, if you don't want to have to think about it, you're going to use 2 fonts. They are called Intertight and Inter. They just look modern, standard, good, right? And in here, I've also created a Sass file, SCSS. Instead of using CSS, you can use Sass, which will be easier for customizing other things. But for now, basically with our import, we're basically just going to use this like CSS for this first part. So let's save that and add Inter from Google Fonts, and we'll wait for it to update here. Give it a second. Boom. Okay, that already looks quite a bit better. This looks like a super modern font that you might see on something using Tailwind or whatever, right? And the other thing you can do is this Intertight. I really like to use this for my headings and whatnot. I think it just looks a little nicer. So we're going to give that by default to our H1 tags and take a look at what that looks like. Again, Astro is being very slow today. And we'll see, okay, it just tightens up things a little bit. And we can even go over to our little brand here. Usually you'd have like a logo, but right now for this one, I just had some text. And then once that updates, this will tighten up the font there as well. Great. Okay, so what next? How can we make this look less bootstrappy? The next thing you're going to do is the header and footers. And Bootstrap is kind of behind the trends. It likes to put solid color headers as solid color nav bars, which is really kind of behind the times. So let's get rid of that. So instead of on our nav bar, we had background, body, tertiary. Let's just do border bottom. And on our footer, we already have a border top. So let's just get rid of that. Okay, so this looks much less crunchy already. Cool. That just looks much cleaner and less bootstrappy. Then one additional thing we can do is, especially with static sites, what I've found is that using space a lot more liberally is good. So we're going to add some vertical padding on the nav bar, which is going to space that out a little bit. And then what we're going to do on the footer, and this looks, again, there's some issues with how I have this spaced, but we'll see it on desktop. Instead of this padding bottom 5, let's just add some custom CSS. Let's try 130 pixels. Which will, just give us a little more space. And I think that looks a lot nicer. Bootstrap's utility classes only go up to a certain amount, and I like to add custom ones for myself. So like you could take that 130 pixels and say, hey, I might want to use that, or expand beyond just the 5. And you'll see up here in the nav bar, it looks a lot nicer. What else can we do? Bootstrap has very good, or at least pretty decent support for dark mode. And I don't think people use it very well. So here's an app I built totally on Bootstrap. This is like an apartment search tool with quite a bit going on here. But this right here, I think looks fine. But I also built in dark mode. And I think this looks, pretty clean, relatively speaking. And this, I think, looks less generic Bootstrap. So how can we do that? Like I said, that the support is decent. Basically, you can test it very simply by doing this, just setting the DataPS theme on the body. And we'll see using no other contextual classes, no other changes, it already has it done pretty well, assuming that you set up your Bootstrap properly and you've been working within their system. What's annoying is that some of these buttons, like light and dark, aren't context aware, so they don't really know what's going on there. But yeah, it gets your text and everything seemingly pretty well. So that is an option. As you might notice from my text editor, I'm not a dark theme guy, but that is an option. We got two additional ones. The first thing we are going to do is make our buttons rounded. That is a design trend that seems to be absolutely everywhere, but Bootstrap by default doesn't do it. So we could just go ahead and customize our button class, or we can just do it here. So in this button, we are just going to use one of Bootstrap's classes, rounded 5. We're going to give it a little bit of extra horizontal padding to make that look nicer. And great. Like, this looks like a pretty solid, with the fonts, with, the rounded button. That looks pretty clean. And we could update this one as well, but we'll skip that for time. And the final thing, which is very, very easy to do with Sass, is customize the Bootstrap primary color. If you're using very generic Bootstrap, they're all going to have this blue. So very, very simply, you can go into your Sass file and add, using this primary tag, change the primary color. And once that updates, it always takes a second. Okay, we got this nice little purple. It's not going to update in the screenshots because they're screenshots, but this plus, like, there's a link in this contact page. So yeah, you see here, okay, the link updated with this color as well. So going from where we started to here, I think this looks a lot cleaner, a lot less generic. It's still Bootstrap for certain, but it looks, just a lot more modern. Thanks for watching.